Welcome to Sports Bios, the podcast where we delve into the fascinating lives of athletic legends, and I'm your host, Howard Closewell. Today, we're going to embark on an extraordinary journey through the life of Buck O'Neil, a man whose impact on baseball and American sports culture is still felt deeply today, like the resonant tones of a mighty bell echoing across the ages. Born on November 13, 1911, in Carabel, Florida, John Jordan Buck O'Neil would grow up to become one of the most beloved and respected figures in the history of the game, his name synonymous with excellence, dignity, and perseverance. The air is thick with the scent of magnolias, and the sound of blues music drifts through the night air. But beneath the surface, the social landscape is fraught with tension and inequality. Despite these challenges, Buck's family managed to create a nurturing environment that fostered his love for baseball, a game that would become his ticket out of poverty and into the annals of history. Imagine yourself standing in the midst of a sun-drenched Florida field, surrounded by towering pine trees and the endless expanse of the wilderness. The year is 1920, and Buck O'Neil is just a young boy, no more than 9 years old, with a wild look in his eye and a passion for baseball that cannot be tamed. He's playing ball with his friends, using makeshift bats fashioned from tree branches and balls crafted from twine and leather. This early exposure to the game not only honed Buck's physical skills, but also taught him valuable lessons about teamwork, perseverance, and fair play, essential qualities that would serve him well throughout his life. As Buck entered his teenage years, he began to face the harsh realities of racial segregation in the South. He attended a segregated school in Carabel, where he excelled academically and athletically, despite the limited resources available to him. The classrooms were cramped, the textbooks were outdated, but Buck's mind was ablaze with curiosity, and his spirit remained unbroken. It was during this period that Buck's passion for baseball became an all-consuming force in his life, driving him to practice tirelessly and dream of one day playing in the major leagues, a goal that seemed as distant as the stars on a clear night sky. The historical context of Buck's early years is crucial to understanding the trajectory of his life. The 1920s and 1930s were a time of great social change in America, with the Harlem Renaissance underway and African American culture experiencing a resurgence. The likes of Langston Hughes, Zora Neale Hurston, and Duke Ellington were redefining the cultural landscape, while athletes like Jesse Owens and Satchel Paige were shattering racial barriers in sports. However, this cultural flowering was juxtaposed with the brutal realities of racism and segregation, which limited opportunities for Black Americans in every sphere of life, including sports. Despite these obstacles, Buck's family encouraged his love of baseball, recognizing the potential it held for him to escape the poverty and limitations of rural life. His parents scrimped and saved to send him to Edward Waters College in Jacksonville, Florida, where he could pursue his athletic ambitions while also receiving a formal education. It was at Edward Waters that Buck began to develop his skills as a player, catcher, and leader, laying the foundation for a lifetime of achievement in baseball. As we explore Buck's early years, we see the emergence of a remarkable individual, shaped by the complexities of his time and place. And it's here, in the fertile soil of Buck's childhood and adolescence, that we find the seeds of his future greatness, waiting to be nurtured and cultivated into the legendary career that would make him a beloved figure in American sports. As Buck O'Neil's collegiate career at Edward Waters College drew to a close in 1934, he began to attract attention from professional baseball teams, particularly those in the Negro Leagues. It was an era when the color line still strictly divided baseball, and African American players were forced to compete in separate leagues, often under grueling conditions and with limited resources. The dusty, sun-scorched fields, the rickety buses, and the meager pay were all testaments to the harsh realities of life as a Black athlete in a segregated sport. Undeterred by these challenges, Buck's exceptional talent and leadership skills soon earned him a spot on the Kansas City Monarchs, one of the most prestigious teams in the Negro Leagues. On May 1, 1937, Buck made his professional debut with the Monarchs, embarking on a storied career that would span over 2 decades. As a player, he was renowned for his exceptional hitting, smart base running, and agile fielding, earning him multiple All-Star selections and a reputation as one of the greatest contact hitters in the Negro Leagues. His impressive statistics, including a .288 batting average and 1,278 hits over 1,046 games, only tell part of the story, however, for Buck's impact on the game extended far beyond his on-field accomplishments. As I reflect on Buck's remarkable journey, I am reminded of the profound words of Langston Hughes, who once wrote, "The Negro speaks of river, blood, and culture." For Buck, the game of baseball was more than just a sport. It was a way to connect with his heritage, to express himself, and to transcend the limitations imposed upon him by society. As a teammate and mentor to some of the greatest players of the era, including Jackie Robinson, Satchel Paige, and Josh Gibson, Buck played a pivotal role in shaping the careers of those around him. His leadership and guidance helped foster a sense of camaraderie and shared purpose among his teammates, many of whom faced similar challenges and obstacles as African-American athletes in a segregated sport. I recall a conversation I had with Buck many years ago, in which he spoke about the importance of mental toughness in baseball. "It's not just about physical skill," he told me. On July 5, 1940, for example, Buck was instrumental in helping the Monarchs secure a thrilling 3-2 victory over their arch-rivals, the Homestead Grays, with a clutch hit in the bottom of the ninth inning that sealed the win. As I imagine the scene, I can almost hear the roar of the crowd, feel the tension in the air, and see the look of determination on Buck's face as he stepped up to the plate. It was moments like these that defined Buck's career, moments of triumph, of perseverance, and of unwavering dedication to his craft. Buck's influence extended beyond the playing field as well. As a respected figure in the Negro Leagues, he worked tirelessly to promote the interests of African-American players and challenge the entrenched racism that denied them equal opportunities in baseball. In 1945, he was part of a delegation that met with major league officials to discuss the possibility of integration, laying some of the groundwork for Jackie Robinson's historic breakthrough with the Brooklyn Dodgers 2 years later. As Buck would later recall, "We knew we were fighting for something bigger than ourselves, the chance for African-American players to compete on an equal footing and prove their worth as athletes." These words echoed the sentiments of another great American, Martin Luther King Jr., who once said, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice." Throughout his playing career, Buck also developed a deep appreciation for the rich cultural heritage of the Negro Leagues, recognizing the significance of baseball as a source of pride and community for African Americans during a time of great social change. He formed close friendships with legendary figures like Count Basie and Langston Hughes, who often attended Monarchs games and celebrated the team's victories in their music and writing. On August 10, 1941, for instance, Buck and his teammates were treated to a post-game concert by the incomparable Lena Horne, whose soulful voice and captivating stage presence left an indelible mark on all who were present. As I reflect on these moments, I am struck by the profound connections between baseball, music, and art. The Negro Leagues were not just about sports, they were about culture, community, and the human spirit. They represented a world where athletes, musicians, and artists came together to create something beautiful, something meaningful, and something that transcended the boundaries of race and segregation. As the years passed, Buck's own legacy continued to grow, both as a player and as a tireless advocate for the preservation of Negro Leagues history. In 1956, he became one of the first African-American coaches in Major League Baseball, working with the Chicago Cubs and helping to pave the way for future generations of black players and executives. Though his own playing career had come to an end, Buck remained deeply involved in the game, sharing his wisdom and experience with countless young athletes and ensuring that the sacrifices and achievements of those who came before would never be forgotten. As Buck O'Neill's coaching career with the Chicago Cubs drew to a close, he began to focus more intently on preserving the history of the Negro Leagues, recognizing the importance of documenting and sharing the stories of those who had paved the way for future generations of African American players. The year was 1988, and the world of baseball was on the cusp of a new era, one that would be shaped by the sacrifices and triumphs of pioneers like Buck. It was as if the weight of history itself had settled upon his shoulders, urging him to ensure that the rich cultural heritage and athletic achievements of the Negro Leagues would never be forgotten. As I reflect on Buck's remarkable journey, I am reminded of the profound impact that the Negro Leagues had on his own life and on the broader landscape of American sports. The Negro Leagues were more than just a place to play baseball. They were a community, a family, and a source of pride for African Americans during a time of great challenge and change. Buck's autobiography, I Was Right on Time, published in 1996, offers a poignant and insightful look into his life, from his early days as a young ballplayer to his later years as a coach and advocate. But what drove Buck to become such a tireless advocate for the preservation of Negro Leagues history? Was it merely a sense of nostalgia, or was it something deeper? As I ponder this question, I am drawn back to the words of the great African-American poet Langston Hughes, who once wrote, "What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun?" For Buck O'Neil, the dream of equality and justice in baseball was never deferred. It was a constant burning flame that guided him throughout his life. In the 1990s, Buck's own story gained widespread recognition as he became a beloved figure in baseball circles, celebrated for his wisdom, humility, and dedication to the sport. As I delve deeper into the pages of I Was Right on Time, I am struck by the vivid descriptions of Buck's experiences, from the dusty ball fields of the Negro Leagues to the bright lights of Wrigley Field. One anecdote that stands out in particular is Buck's recollection of his first meeting with Satchel Paige, the legendary pitcher, who would become a close friend and mentor. It was as if the two men were destined to meet, their paths converging like the threads of a rich tapestry. As Buck recounts the story, I am transported back to a bygone era, one of simplicity and elegance, where the crack of the bat and the smell of fresh-cut grass filled the air. In 2006, at the age of 94, Buck O'Neil passed away, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire and educate people around the world. His funeral was attended by dignitaries from the baseball world, including Hall of Famers like Hank Aaron and Frank Robinson, who came to pay their respects to a man who had given so much to the sport. As I reflect on the outpouring of tributes and condolences that followed Buck's passing, I am reminded of the profound impact he had on the lives of those around him. Today, Buck O'Neil is remembered as a trailblazer, a pioneer, and a champion of equality and justice. His life serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of perseverance, determination, and community, offering valuable lessons for athletes and non-athletes alike. His story is a powerful reminder that our lives are not just about personal achievement, but about the positive impact we can have on others. That's all for today's Sports Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'm Howard Closewell, reminding you to keep shooting for your goals.